So if you know me at all or have seen my season 3 review of Outer Banks, you know I'm nowhere near the biggest fan of this show. I can appreciate the earlier seasons for the comfort vibe it had, and the great chemistry with the cast, and the decent story. I think season 3, the show had a huge fall off and took it to another level that was just completely abandoned the foundations of this show. And I just got finished watching the newest and just announced penultimate season of Outer Banks, season 4, and it was definitely a different type of season than what we've seen in this show. After watching season 4, I think I can say I honestly liked it a lot better than season 3, but that's not really saying much. I won't get into season 3 that much, but that season completely abandoned what makes this show work, which is watching these best friends who would die for each other go on a crazy adventure together. And in season 3, they were just split up the whole time while also making characters have to do some uncharacteristic moves and acting like a completely different character and doing random things just for the story to move on, while also introducing these new characters that are just terrible and horrible to watch and have most of the screen time last season. And season 4 attempts to go back to the roots of seasons 1 and 2, but like I said, I think season 3 just took this show to a totally different level that it's hard to fully go back to those seasons 1 and 2 vibes. This season was also split into 2 parts for whatever reason. I don't know why Netflix is doing that. I don't think that helped with this season at all for this show. I think honestly this show would work better as a weekly series, especially because the episodes are really long, some even way too long. I mean, the finale is an hour and 30 minutes and it definitely did not need to be that long. And I think the first part of this season, the first 5 episodes, were pretty bad. Like I said, season 3 abandoned the foundations of this show and it struggles to go back to that. In season 3, this group of pogues finally found the City of Gold and collected some of the gold and brought it back to the island, to the Outer Banks, and they immediately spend all $1 million of it in pretty much one day. Not only was this incredibly stupid, but they just did this so the story can move along. Like, it is so obvious now that this show really should have ended in season 3 that they made them spend all the gold, the thing they were looking for since season 1, pretty much in one day. It was so stupid, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just lazy writing in my opinion. And JJ, I mean, in the beginning of the season, this boy was doing way too much and immediately became so unlikable this season. He spends it all. It's all his fault. He spends all this gold for no reason in like a day. He bets on himself in that bike race and he loses all the money, and none of the other guys try to stop him at all. Like, he spends all this money, he overbids at the auction house, and he just becomes so unlikable, and it kind of makes him hard to root for and the whole group at this point because they're just being so reckless and stupid, and really it just doesn't make sense. And this new Blackbeard treasure hunt that they set up at the beginning of the season was just super uninteresting. It's like they just brought in this new storyline, this new treasure hunt that's not really connected to any of them, or at least we don't know that in the beginning of the season, and it's just hard to care about, you know, them finding this new treasure or them being a part of it because even the characters don't really care. Now, Outer Banks is a lot of things, but one thing it usually never is a boring show. But at the beginning of this season, it was pretty boring because honestly at this point I just don't care about this new storyline, these new characters they're bringing in, because they wrapped up the main storyline. Also, a lot of the main characters this season, particularly Sarah and John B, like, are just not the main characters anymore, and they do not have anything for them to do really this season. So they make Sarah pregnant, which was like really came out of nowhere, and I don't really think that should have been a storyline, or at least this season. And they sidelined the best character and actor on the show, in my opinion, Rafe. He has like nothing to do up until like the finale of this show. He's like a side character. I really don't care what he's doing the whole season until the end, and that's really disappointing because, like I said, I honestly think he's the most interesting character and he's just a great actor. But in my opinion, part 2 really did save this season and made it better than season 3. You can tell they got a huge budget this season, and I think they use it really well this season, especially in part 2. They're using different camera techniques like one-shots, bigger sets, and effects. It was cool to see in a show like this, but I don't know why every time there's a scene at night and they're like on the water, it's like blue, like there's just a blue filter on it every time, and that's just honestly really annoyed me every time. I'm like, why is it blue? It's hard to see what's even going on and who's who. And even though this show has gone way too far and way above the groundedness of this show and what honestly made it work, I can appreciate that they're kind of going all in on that and not trying to balance that and like this teenage high school love drama, which I think is another reason why season 3 failed, is they try to do this intense big treasure hunt and also do like this Sarah cheating on John B love drama stuff, but they totally almost completely abandon that stupid stuff and just focus on the intense treasure hunt this season. There's a little bit of the stuff with Topper, but thank God that guy's not in this season that much. They should just write him off. He's a completely useless character at this point. JJ also has some great stuff in the second half of the season, which I guess makes up for the stupidness of the first half. I love episode 6, his crash out. I think that was really fun to see. Honestly, one of the best scenes of the entire show. It was just awesome to see this character just totally crash out. And like I said, they use great camera techniques, great effects, and great sets. And honestly, the stuff with his father was honestly pretty interesting, which I wasn't expecting. I was like, that's a pretty dumb plot twist. Honestly, I still don't think it should have been a plot twist, like, because the season should have ended. They're just adding all these new different twists and stuff to make the show keep going, even though it really had a good ending in 3. And JJ's father is honestly a really good villain, and maybe the best villain the show's ever had. I mean, he's ruthless and unpredictable and not dumb like these other villains this season, who are pretty much like background extras who have no motivation for anything. They're just there. But also, there's still just like way too much things where they just survive everything this season, and it's like, how the heck do they get out of this? The cops in the show are terrible, and not like, oh, I can get over that. No, it's like, how the heck are they getting away from the cops? How the heck are they not getting in trouble? How the heck are they surviving all of these situations they get themselves in? It just, sometimes it gets way too much this season. I'm like, all right, I just can't get around the fact that they survived that. But the stakes really did feel really high this season, and they did a really good job of executing those stakes, because honestly, in that finale, I was hooked onto my screen and I really didn't know what was happening. And I know a lot of people aren't loving that ending with you know what happens, but honestly, I thought it was a pretty ballsy move, and I respect them for doing that, because I honestly did not expect them to do that at all. I honestly think, though, they do not need a whole new season of the show, though. I think they could honestly added 3 to 5 more episodes this season, and they could have wrapped everything up. It kind of doesn't feel like a complete season based on how the season ends. But yeah, this show, it's definitely like a fun watch. You'll really never be bored with the show. I think it's just gone way too far. Really should have ended with 3. But if you always love this show, you'll probably love this season still. But I think it's just season 3 just digged themselves into too deep of a hole that they couldn't climb out of this season. But I honestly think it was a lot better than the previous season. Well, let me know what you guys think of the new season of Outer Banks. Are you excited for the next season? What do you think's gonna happen? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.